All right, so the first government agency we're going to talk about is the Department of Transportation, otherwise known as the DOT. So the main jobs for the DOT are the responsibility of maintaining the infrastructure and roadways across the entire nation of the United States. Second thing it does is it regulates all form of transportation and ensure safety compliance. And oftentimes at airports, you'll see signs talk about being in compliance with the DOT. So that's what they're doing. They're just making sure the airports are running safely and ensure that you're being safe when at an airport or driving. And so just remember the DOT is responsible for all forms of transportation and keeping everyone safe. This is a federal agency, which means that it monitors all the states in the United States of America. And for us in training, we don't really talk about it that much. We don't really communicate with them either. But if you do have questions or concerns, you can always go to this website here to message them. All right, the next one is the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration. This is the agency or entity that we'll be most focusing on throughout our training as private pilots. So, as most of us already know, they regulate civil aviation and promote safety, and they do this usually through the publications of FARs, as well as sectional charts and airport facility directories. And the jurisdiction is for them is the federal level, and to be more precise, the continental United States. So all the flying regulations are created by them, and that we must comply with them. If you need to reach out to the FAA for whatever reason, you will need to contact the nearest FSDO, which we'll talk about next. So the next agency we'll be covering is the Federal Aviation Administration. They are responsible for regulating civil aviation and promoting safety. And one of the things you see them do is publish the FARs every year, Federal Aviation Regulations. And that's a book you'll reference once in a while to just ensure you know all your regs, or if you're not sure on a check ride, you can pull that book out and just see if you're complying with the regs. Some of the publications they release include sectional charts and airport facility directories. So the sectional chart, we just use it for navigation, which is self-explanatory. Then we have the airport facility directory, or AFD, which is the green book that you'll use as a private pilot. Inside that book, you'll find all information pertaining to the operation at a certain airport in the region, such as noise abatement as well as curfews, if there are any. Another thing to do is certify aircraft. So when a manufacturer designs a new aircraft, the FAA will issue them a type certificate data sheet. Also, the FAA is responsible for making sure owners keep the aircraft airworthy. So along with the maintenance requirements required by the FARs, the FAA will also issue airworthiness directives, which are known as ADs, which you'll hear about throughout your training. So ADs are mandatory, they must be complied with when they are issued to the owner. And you, as the pilot in command, will have to ensure that all the airworthiness directives are complied with. The jurisdiction for the FAA is the continental United States. If you have any questions and you want to reach out to the FAA, you're going to have to contact the FSDO, which we'll talk about next. Oops. So the FSDO is known as the Flight Standards District Office. And those are actually the local representatives of the FAA. So there's actually 9 different offices around the United States, and you can look up and see which one's the closest one. So they're the ones who actually enforce the laws. And some other things they do include collecting reports that pertain to safety, such as accident reporting, low-flying aircraft, etc. They're also the ones who will issue you your certificate, such as some include pilot certificates and mechanic certificates, or even instructor certificates. Next thing they do is aircraft registration. So if there's you need to renew your registration or you're going to sell your aircraft to somebody else, you're going to go for the FSDO to get that registration taken care of. If you need to contact the FSDO, you can usually contact them by email. But before that, you'll need to go to this following website down here, find out where your nearest FSDO is. And just as a note, if you send a message to the FSDO, don't expect a reply like right away. They're very busy, and it might take a couple of days for you to get a reply.
Now I will move on to my slide discussing about the NTSB. NTSB stand for the National Transportation Safety Board, and it is an independent U.S. federal agency responsible for investigating transportation accident, including aviation accident. The agency goal is to determine the probable cause of an accident and make recommendations to prevent similar accident in the future. As aviation is one of the mode of transportation that NTSB investigate, pilots should have a basic understanding of the agency role and responsibilities in an event of an accident. Pilot may be required to provide information to the NTSB as part of the investigation process. Additionally, the NTSB recommendation may impact aviation regulations and procedures that pilot must follow in the future. It is therefore important for pilots to stay informed about the NTSB findings and recommendation to maintain a high level of safety in the aviation industry. Next, I will discuss about ICAO. ICAO stands for International Civil Aviation Organization. It is a specialized agency of the United Nations that is responsible for setting global aviation standards and recommended practices. Its mission is to promote safe, secure, and efficient international air navigation. Pilots need to know about ICAO because it establishes international aviation regulation and procedures which affect the way pilot operates the aircraft. For example, the ICAO standards and recommended practices for flight operation, air traffic control, and aircraft maintenance are incorporated into national aviation regulation and procedure worldwide. Furthermore, ICAO language proficiency is required to ensure that pilot and air traffic controller can effectively communicate with each other in English, which is the international language of aviation. Overall, pilots need to be familiar with the ICAO standards and recommended practices to operate safely and efficiently in the international aviation system. Next, I will discuss about IATA. IATA stands for International Air Transport Association. It is a trade association that represent and serve the airline industry worldwide. It is responsible for developing industry standard and best practices as well as providing support and services to airlines. Pilots need to know about IATA because the association play a key role in shaping the policy and practices for the aviation industry. For example, IATA works closely with national government and international organizations to develop regulation and policy that affect the aviation industry, including safety, security, and environmental standards. In addition, IATA provides services and support to airlines such as training programs, safety audits, and operational tools. Many airlines also use IATA standardized systems and procedure for ticketing, baggage handling, and other operational function. Overall, pilots need to be familiar with IATA and its activity because the association has a significant influence on the aviation industry and the way airline operates. Understanding IATA standard and best practices can help pilot operate safely and efficiently within the airline industry.